that you are feeling. I acknowledge the pain not only of those in this courtroom, but the Floyd family who are outside this courtroom and other members of the community. It has been painful throughout Hennepin County, throughout the state of Minnesota, and even the country. And most importantly, we need to recognize the pain of the Floyd family. I'm not going to attempt to be profound or clever because it's not the appropriate time. I'm not basing my sentence also on public opinion. I am not basing it on any attempt to send any messages. A trial court judge, the job of a trial court judge is to apply the law to specific facts and to deal with individual cases. And so, Mr. Chauvin, as to count one, based on the verdict of the jury finding you guilty of unintentional second-degree murder while committing a felony under Minnesota Statute 609.19 subdivision 2 paren 1, it is the judgment of the court that you now stand convicted of that offense. Pursuant to Minnesota Statute section 60904, counts 2 and 3 will remain unadjudicated as they are lesser offenses of count 1. As sentence for count 1, the court commits you to the custody of the Commissioner of Corrections for a period of 270 months. It's 270. That is a 10-year addition to the presumptive sentence of 150 months. This is based on your abuse of a position of trust and authority, and also the particular cruelty shown to George Floyd. You were granted credit for 199 days already served. Pay the mandatory surcharge of $78 to be paid from prison wages. You're prohibited from possessing firearms, ammunition, or explosives for the remainder of your life. Provide a DNA sample as required by law. Register as a predatory offender as required by law. And you will receive a copy of the order and also the attached memorandum explaining the court's analysis. Anything further from the state?
If this needs to be said, we just ask that it be executed forthwith.
Defendant is remanded in custody of the sheriff to be transported back to the DOC or whichever custody is currently holding. Anything from the defense?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. We are adjourned.
There you have it, the sentence passed down from Judge Peter Cahill. He said that his words would be brief, and they were. 22 and a half years. We add up the months that he just mentioned there. That is the sentence for Derek Chauvin for killing George Floyd on that day last year in Minneapolis. Let's get right back to Deb Roberts, who's with us in the studio. You've been hearing from people about their expectations. People said they wanted a stiff penalty. Folks you were talking to, what do you think they're going to react to with this?
Well, we heard the Floyd family asking for maximum. We've heard people, on social media. I talked to people who said they thought the punishment should fit the crime. Listen, as Dan Harris said, it wasn't the 15 years, but it certainly wasn't the max of 40 years. I can imagine that some people will be disappointed, but again, you have to remember, this is a police officer who was convicted of killing a man, a black man in America. It doesn't happen very often. The numbers are very small. Less than 2% are ever convicted. So I would imagine for a lot of people, there is still some satisfaction that there was actually accountability, because at the end of the day, that is what you hear so often from people, that